Do it again.
This podcast is proud to be part of the TalkSport Fan Network. TalkSport. Powered by fans.
To goal! It's absolutely world class from Marcus Tunde!
Johnson puts it in the air. Aidan Flynn wins the It's still with Lee Gregory. He's in the box. Tries to screw him. Is it going to be there? Yes! Oh my word!
The Wednesday week! Got there in the end. Hello, good evening, and welcome to another episode of the Wednesday week. As Sheffield Wednesday have secured their second win in the Championship this year against Blackburned Rovers after being pegged back after going up 1-0 thanks to a goal from Bailey Cadamarteri. Or is it Cadamarteri? I've not worked that out yet. Sheffield Wednesday went on to take all 3 points. There is also a midweek event against top of the table high flyers Leicester City to talk about as well. We're also live on Twitch and we're live on Facebook. And Ash, he doesn't know this yet, but Ash is going to man the comments that come through. So any questions that you've got, please get in touch on the comment thing that may or may not be there, because I've just set Twitch up about an hour ago. So we'll go from there. Now, just to warn you, ladies and gents, Charlie's been arrested apparently, and she's now in a prison cell looking at that because of the dead body that's underneath the sheet normally in the background. Is that right, Chaz?
I'm so sorry. Say that again.
We've also got prison Wi-Fi as well where Charlie is, so that's what's happening. Charlie, it looks like you're in a prison cell. Is that because people lifted up that sheet that's normally in your background when you're on this show?
Yeah, the secret's out. I'm sorry. I got the body in the back, and now I'm atoning for my sins in Birmingham.
In Birmingham. Well, as it may stand, Charlie's Wi-Fi's pish. So we'll. Simon, how are you, mate? You all right? Looking very Christmassy.
Yep, I'm really good, thank you. What a week to be on, because normally it's really, really bad. And what do we talk about?
Well, we've got plenty to go at. So first up, we've got a game against Leicester. Now, if you listened to the show last week, you'd have noticed that we all predicted something like a 3-0 drubbing, and that was us being modest when we called it. But managed to secure a decent game there, Ash. I mean, did you go? Did you have a good time? What was it like?
First of all, it was fucking Baltic. Excuse my language. You had to have wrapped up warm for the Wednesday night, I tell you.
Was it big coat weather, Smash?
It was definitely big coat weather. Yeah. So some folks in shorts, so big hands to them braving it in that. But I'm of a certain age now. I do not do stuff like that. I'll get a proper wrapped up. Yeah, I was there, mate. Wednesday. I don't know.
How did you feel?
Always positive, aren't I? On the podcast,
Yeah, mate.
It was, mate. Well, Leicester, top of the league, coming to town, and obviously we had that poor result against Birmingham the match before. So it was on all the social medias. It was one of those where it's like, is it 2-0, 3-0, 4-0, 5-0 cricket score thing going on? But it weren't, was it? It wasn't. It weren't.
Look how happy he is, Simon. Look how happy he is. Have you ever seen him like that?
Happy Ash.
I am happy. I got it behind you. 4 points out of 6 against 2 top 7 teams. So if you think of that, it's a pretty good week, isn't it? Yeah, man. Leicester. The team turned up, didn't they? Proper turned up, and it was a shame. It was a shame for him to go 1-0 down.
Yeah.
First half, we could have beaten it. We wouldn't have been 2-0, but at least one goal up. With Bannon's effort after 40 seconds, was it that he still hasn't got a right foot? I mean, I think he went and ahed about shooting or passing it, and then did neither. But it was a great chance. And then I think it was Patterson, weren't it, where the keeper had a bit of a nightmare, which we're usually talking about our own keeper having a nightmare, not the opposition. And it was good. And Pato, I think, had an open net, but there were a defender in front of him that he managed to hit the defender, or the defender got in the way. But it was great. And it was good to see Bailey Cadamarteri. That's probably not. I don't know. We'll have to ask other people to get his first start as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Great to see him. Now, Charlie, I can see you moving. So it looks like we've got you on a bit of Wi-Fi on the wind in the Midlands there. So, how did you feel going into this game?
I think it was one of those where, like, typical Wednesday, like if you expect that we're going to get battered, they're the games that we do the best on. So I think I was weirdly sort of optimistic because I was pessimistic, if that makes sense. But yeah, I feel like it had every opportunity to be a fantastic game, and I think we deserved something of late with how we've been playing. So it's just nice, and I think it was just, it was going to be such a turning point if we could get a result against a top team, and we did. I thought it was fantastic.
Yeah, Simon. I feel like there was a bit of a monkey off our back, wasn't there, against Leicester? Nobody really saw that coming, but we if you've seen the team before, under Danny Rule's tenure, we knew that there was something there. We knew that there was something happening. And like Ash says, if Bannon had found his shooting boots, I mean, he did well to get into that position, didn't he? And I must admit, I thought their goalie did really well with it in the swiftness he came out. But I mean, not a bad day out, were it?
No, I actually missed, due to traffic, Bannon's attempt. Literally walked in just after it happened, and everyone's going, "Oh, he's missed a sitter. It was an open net." And then when I watched it back, actually, if he had a right foot, I think he would have scored it. Left foot, he dragged it wide. I think, like Ash said, I think he was caught in two minds, pass or shoot. So he did a shamash. I thought the worst one was Pato's miss, really. I mean, Pato had a defender to beat, which was probably no real difference to what Josh had to do on Saturday against the keeper for the third goal. And that one I thought was unforgivable, really, in a way. And then Bambo, I think, had a header from a free kick or a corner. I mean, personally, I thought we should have been 3 or 4-1 up at half time. I really do. Honestly, I thought we were superb. I thought we went into it. We could have quite easily gone down the route of being awestruck at a team that are paid £68 million a year compared to our 9. We Reg Vardy up front. It's these sort of things that you just think, they're a Premiership side. And at times, I think they thought they were a Premiership side and played like a Premiership side against a Championship side. And there were shades there, I thought, of the Newcastle game from last season. We just sort of went at the road and go, let's not be afraid. And we weren't afraid up until, extra time where we got the equaliser. We weren't afraid of them, which was superb. I thought they were superb. And all the work that Danny Rule's done is starting to come off.
Yeah.
And I thought it was superb. So.
Now, Ash, when their goal went in, were you sat there thinking, this is going to be this is it now, because it's very difficult. I think we discussed it last week. When the first goal goes in, you sit there and you think to yourself, they've come out all guns blazing. Looks like we're playing really well, but that one goal can really make the heads drop. Did you feel like that had the potential to do that, or because of when they scored, we had the opportunity to regroup at half time?
Yeah, it was a bit of a kick in the balls, weren't it? Because we did play well in the first half. For as much as the chances we did have, and we missed and didn't take them, which we have been guilty of. It was good to see us restrict Leicester as well, the way we played, because I don't think they of course they top of the league. They did have some first choice players out. They did rest a few players, which that's their own fault. We can only play against the 11 that we're put up against, so we adapt to that. It was great to see just the Leicester being resorting just to hitting them from 25 and 30 yards. That's the game, and that, I mean, going into, so what did they score on the about 25th? I think they scored. Fatawu at the back post. I think we just got sucked in a little bit from the left hand side. I think the cross came in, and a couple of, I don't know, whoever it was, maybe Famewo at the left back should have done, but there were two of them at the back, and it were a good finish by the lad. But then you think, don't you? Oh, I personally do. 1-0. Oh, here we go.
Yeah.
Top of the league. We have shipped a few goals. Not being hammered, but we have shipped a few. It's like, oh, here we go. And it just didn't. They didn't seem to kick into second gear, like into, another gear to capitalise.
Was that down to us though, Ash? Do you feel like we managed to nullify that?
100%. Yeah, I'm going to give full props to the team for that. Because no doubt before Leicester, when they've scored, obviously I've not seen a lot of Leicester's games and everything, but I'm sure if they'd have scored one, they have got the chances to go 2-3, and it just didn't happen. It just didn't happen, and it was. I was happy. No, I wasn't happy to go in 1-0 down, but the way that we still stuck at it, still tracked back, still pressed. The pressing game that obviously Danny Rule's got on doing now, it's like a different animal from anything Cisco or even Darren Moore, anything like that. It's a totally different system that he's gone playing, and it, touch wood on all this, like it seems to be working, and they're getting into that groove of it.
Oh, Ash is in a good mood, and props to everybody. What is happening, ladies and gentlemen? We've gone live, and Ash is smiling. I don't know what's going on. Now, Charlie, as Ash says, we nullified them quite a bit. We stopped them kicking into that second gear, as he says. Do you feel like? In fact, I was going to say, do you feel like? Nah, bollocks to that. How mental did you go when we got that late equaliser?
So I was on comms. I was on Discord with some lads that I was playing games with, and I got like match on, sort of half watching it, half just kind of keeping an eye on it. And apparently, all they heard was just this "fucking get it wrong," and then the cut off because I'd leapt up with my headphones on, ripped the headphone jack out like mid scream. So they just heard all this chaos and then silence from me. I was doing laps around the room. I was singing World in Motion, like I'd just absolutely lost my marbles. It was amazing. Like, it was so deserved as well. Like, even before that went in, I kept thinking, we've still played well even if we lose, and I know we've said that so many times this season, like it's frustrating, like, but we'd, for them to get that one goal early-ish doors, but then for us to not, it not be a cricket score, and for us to really hold our own. But 3 points would have flattered him. It really would have flattered him, and it is, it is all props to us, but it is also recognizing that they didn't play like top of the league. A casual watching that would have not thought that's top of the league versus bottom of the league, not for a second. So yeah, it was fantastic.
That's really encouraging, isn't it? I was DJing that night actually, and I had it on in the on the knobs that people arbitrarily touch when they're trying to DJ from a computer. That, like it makes a difference. And I had the phone balance there, and I was sat watching it, and I was doing some like showbiz DJing where there's a bit of microphone work, and I was halfway through saying something, and it went in, and I went, "Up the shagging Wednesdays," just across this venue. And everybody was like, "What the fuck? Who's this guy?" And I'm going, "Up the fucking shagging Wednesdays." Yeah. And then I had my shirt on underneath, so I just DJ'd the rest of the night in that. So that's nice, isn't it? Now we had a geezer turn up from our YouTube. Don't know who the bloody hell he was. So like, just turn it up, just having an appearance. Like, I mean, it'd be wrong if we didn't talk about him. We've got to talk about Bailey. There's been a lot said about him. There's been apparent interest from Premier League teams and stuff like that. I mean, how did you feel he did against what's essentially a load of Premier League players?
Thought he did really well. I thought he did really, really well. I thought he put himself about. He's a lot more mobile than our other strikers, Fletcher, Gregory, Smith. To say he's a young lad, I mean, he's been on the fringes for a while now, hasn't he? And there's been fans calling out for him to get a start. I believe that Danny's had him training amongst the senior squad, and I think that's helped him. And I mean, he was just down, especially Vestergaard. He was down Vestergaard's throat all the time. To which point he fouled him, pulled the yellow card, got a yellow card on him. And bear in mind, Vestergaard's been around for donkey's years. And he's a good centre back, good played in the Premiership. and he didn't make Bailey look a mug whatsoever. I thought it was great, and he was just buzzing around, making himself a nuisance, playing that one up front. He was a lot more mobile than if we'd been playing Smith or Greggs or definitely Fletcher. And I thought it was superb. I thought it was really, really good. I know a few people thought he ran around, like a headless chicken, but no, he made a nuisance of himself, and that's what we needed.
He's young, Simon. He can do that running around things. I mean,
Absolutely.
it makes my back hurt just watching it nowadays.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? So he can do all that. Now I'm going to pop the stats up, Ash. Now last week I managed to get that wrong, so I've labelled them this time round. I've done really well.
It's not Millwall.
So it's not Millwall for the benefit of listening. Now, a lot was made of the possession, Ash. A lot was made of the possession online. I mean, there's a lot down there. We've had more shots on target than they did, but a lot was made of the possession, with us only having 32% to their 68 obs. Did it feel like that in the first half, or do you feel like when Leicester came out the traps in the second half, that's what they were? That's what they, that's them trying to take the win home, as it were, or did we sit back a little?
I think we let them have the ball a bit, and they were always. I think Leicester, if you'd have said they were always going to have the ball, it's just they were pish with it. They were really bad with it, and they did. I think they had like 3 times as many passes as well than us, and it was just for whatever reason. I can't. Our midfield. I mean, Volks had a cracking game again.
Mm-hmm. A lot being said about Volks.
Yeah, it seems that he's coming into a bit of his own in the last couple of games, and we'll talk to him about Blackburn, which he carried on with. And I think he played really well in midfield. I just don't. I think it's easy, isn't it? You can have let a team have as much ball as they want, and it's up to you to stop them doing anything with it. And I think we did. Like I said,
well, we didn't manage it against Southampton, did we? You know what I mean? Well, they had all the ball, and we were trying.
Even so, they only scored in like the 85th minute, weren't it, to win 2-1? Do you know what I mean? And you looked at their stats. I think they had about 5 times more passes than us. It was ridiculous.
If you have 68% of passing between your goalkeeper to your centre back to your left back to your right back to your goalkeeper, that's fine. As soon as it started heading further forwards, that's when we broke it up. And like you said earlier on, Ash, the striking, they were hitting balls from 25, 30 yards out. That's what they resorted to. And if you look at the stats in regards to the number of shots on goal, don't forget, I think, was it the Sunderland game? We'd not had a shot on goal in something like 2 or 3 games about a month or so ago. To turn it into, I can't remember how many it was there, shots on target, but 7. I think we went 3 games without having a single shot on target,
I've got the stats. The stats are ready. Always, I'm a ninja, stat ninja.
I think it was the way that they played, and I don't think, for all that we all said, or I personally did as well, that Vardy would get a hat trick and he'd get 5 and 6 and stuff. Yeah, I think he had 2 chances, and one of the chances, the ball was put into him, and old Big Dish just stood his ground and put a bit of shoulder on him, and it was just. Yeah,
it was brilliant.
You are not getting past. And Ben, look, here we are. Look, I'll put it back up. Look, Ben. They are. They couldn't get past Big Dish. There we go.
Big Dish.
And it was. And I think he had one other chance, Vardy. And like I said, they were peppering row X and row Z, weren't they, with the shots from 25, 30 yards. And I think, even though we scored in the 93rd minute, we deserve 3 points. And people.
He's buzzing, isn't he? Look at him, Simon. He's buzzing. He's having a right day.
Sorry,
mate. I like this new Ash. Just turning over a new leaf. Just absolutely just owning man's. Now, Charlie, I was going to come to you in just a second, but Leicester finished out 1-1. As the lads say. They were there for the taking, and we could have had a few in the first half. But in between the Leicester and the Blackburn game, Friday night was an evening with Roland Nilsson, and the 2 lads, Charlie, Ash and Simon, are old enough to remember Roland Nilsson being mint, and they went down there. Now Ash got recognised.
Sorry.
Well.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh man, she was starstruck. Absolute starstruck.
Tell us about that, Smash.
So I've been on this podcast now. What is it now? 4, maybe nearly 5 years. And I think that's the first time anyone's ever come up to me and said, "Hello, Ash." It's usually a wanker, but no, hello, Ash. This young lady, yeah, came up to me and said, "Oh, hello, Ash."
Sorry, hang on. You didn't tell me she was a young lady. You just said a lady. I didn't realize she was a young lady. Like, are you knocking and bandy?
Dad,
are you in our DMs, Ash? What's happening?
He's been
here?
polite. He's been
Manford?
polite. He's been polite.
We went to an evening with Roland Nielsen.
Yeah.
Damn right, Ben. Damn right. It was an evening with Roland Nielsen where I was probably one of the youngest in the room.
Right. Yeah.
No, she was a young lady.
Apart from your son and my son.
They were sat there going, "Dad, who's this old man? He's a 60-year-old man. Who's this man?"
So this young lady sat on the table next to us. She says, "Oh, I've just been listening to you on the podcast in the car on the way here." I was, "Oh, thank you very much," and all that. And somebody, I think it was Simon, said, "Oh, does he look better in real life?" No, he doesn't.
Brilliant.
She actually said you look younger.
But then she did say,
Oh, Ash, the Lord giveth and the Lord taketh away in one fell swoop there, my friend. Now, Simon, tell us about that evening before we got to Blackburn, because, you know, I'm intrigued for it. Like, what was it like? Was it fun? Was it interesting?
It was really good. It was really good. I mean, Roland Nielsen's 60. He's 60. And he looks younger than me. Yeah. I've always had I had a massive. My mum was, bless her soul, she was madly in love with him. Used to go on mad about Roland Nielsen, and I had a bit of a man crush on him as well. I thought he was superb, and I remember being heartbroken when he ended up going to Coventry. He left Wednesday, and I thought that's him gone. He'd be gone to Sweden forever, and then he came back, and he actually ended up managing Coventry City. And it was really good. Some of the stories he told were good. He's a very dry sense of humour because he's a Swede. But the whole room stood up and sang, and number 1 is Roland Nielsen, and number 2 is Roland Nielsen. And he was just the politest man you could ever come to meet. And we took our boys, Ash and I took our sons, and he's in folklore with them. Bear in mind, they're only 15. You know, he'd way gone before our kids were even thought of. And they know what a legend he is. We paid £375,000 for Roland Nielsen.
I thought you were going to tell me that's how much the tickets were.
No, the tickets were 20
quid.
The tickets were £20, which was superb. It goes to the Sheffield Wednesday community. And we paid and bear in mind, this is a guy who played in the semi-final of the World Cup, who won the UEFA Cup, who ended up losing, I think, in the UEFA Cup to Barcelona because he missed a penalty. And we paid £375,000 for him.
Top dollar back in 1990.
That's more than what we've paid for Malik Wilkes last season.
Moving on.
Good dig.
What? It's true. I tell you, the highlight for me of the evening, Dan, we'll just think is they have an auction, they have a raffle. Yeah.
Yep.
So the auction's first. £5 for a stripper raffle ticket. So chucked a £5 in, like we all got raffle tickets. Auction first. So the first auction item was a signed Sheffield Wednesday shirt from this season. Yeah. So it starts off, and I think it started off at something like 150 quid, something like that. I mean, you could have won one from us for £2, but you know, and then it goes on and on, and I think it gets to about 240 quid, something like that. So guy puts his hand up, 240 quid, buzzing, right, goes and gets it. So a couple other things. Let's do the raffle. So they did the raffle. So pulling out one of the things is a signed Darren Moore photo.
Right.
Yeah. So another one was a signed squad shirt from this season. So silver ticket, 600 and God knows what comes out. Big mighty roll comes up from the table. The geezer who paid 240 quid half an hour ago just won one for a £5.
No.
No way.
Exact same guy had bought a raffle ticket and won the same shirt
For a fiver.
for a fiver that he paid 240 quid half an hour.
Oh my
Did they
god.
not shout, put it back in? Did they not?
No, he went and got it.
He went and got it.
He went and got it.
Oh, there'd have been no cheering from me. There'd have been booing, Charlie. There'd have been booing. Have we had any comments on the interweb, Smash?
We've had this one, which I don't really want to show.
Go on. Stevie Spence, where's the big dog? He's having a tumultuous time. He's getting audited at work, so you know what I mean. I think he's got a lot on.
His mum will put any pseudonames down.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, Stevie's mum. We know your game.
No, you can't. No, that's Blair's thing, that, isn't it? That's Blair's family.
Yeah, if you look at our comments on YouTube, it's all just Blair's mum and dad going, "Hey, where's Blair?" That's what it is. Right, okay, then let's get to Blackburn then. So, Charlie, what were you thinking about this one before we went into it?
Yeah, I was all for it. It's just higher for Leicester. And it was one of those where it was like, yes, they're they're in the topper end. It's not even a word. The higher end of the table.
Mm-hmm.
But by that logic, if you can get a point against first, what are you going to do against seventh? So yeah, I was really optimistic, and I think as well, like, it wasn't just sort of that higher intensity sort of pressing football we've been playing is finally starting to pay off. I really feel like we really went back to basics and stuff, like on the Leicester game. Like, we sort of touched a little bit on kind of possession, them having high possession, but I really think we need to give a lot of credit to like how well we were just like tracking back, marking them, like keeping an eye on stuff. We were happy to let them have a bit of a ball and then fanny around with it. And it was that as well that like really clicked with me, because I was like, yeah, we've had loads of times in the game where we've been in the right place to score, perhaps not just quite pulled it off. We've been there, we've been aggressive, but then we've really lacked in some of that simple marking, that like simple football. And suddenly we got this really intelligent football, really intelligent midfield. And I thought, well, that's golden, isn't it? That's exactly what we need going into Saturday, is the ability to score and to not concede. And mind-blowing football commentary. So yeah, I was so enthusiastic that I assured everybody on my work do on Saturday that I would only be happy drinking. I was determined. I was like, there'll be no sad pints here. It was happy drinking all the way. And other than briefly when we conceded, and I was like, damn it, sad drinking. I was like, nope, I'm straight back up again. It was all good. So yeah, I was very, very happy.
I tell you what, I did enjoy when is it Smodjic when he scored and he was shushing the crowd. I mean, fam, you've just scored a goal against the bottom of the league and to draw it level, like.
And it was in front of the away fans, Lepping Lades Lower, where there were no fans. So I don't know who he was shushing.
Yep.
But anyway.
Yeah.
Just shushing bits, mate. Just doing shushing. But let's talk about the
anymore.
Let's talk about the first goal, Simon. So, Windass down the left-hand side, and it's that man again. I mean, I've just realised on this show tonight, I've turned you into our Bailey Cadamarteri correspondent here. So reporting for duty. Tell us all about it.
Yeah, so I think Byers had an attempt. He saw Josh alone on the wing, having a fag, stood on the line, going, hang on, you're free, you. So old Byers had a go at getting it over, and I think it was cut back, and it just landed on Bannon, and Bannon just hit it first time. And the ball in was sublime. But the movement from Cadamarteri in front of the defender and the finish was just class. It was like he'd been playing in Championship for donkey's years, to be honest. It was just such a good finish. And there was no complaints from that, like the goals we've conceded over the last 2 or 3 months have just been fuck ups at the back, basically, haven't they? They've just been people going, oh, I don't know how to defend. Whereas this was a striker getting in front of the defender, bosh, back of the net. Thank you very much. No prisoners. It was wonderful. It was a beautiful sight to see, and I was a very happy chappy.
It sounds like Belgian Blue had something to do with that. But
that was after.
But I tell you what, there was something about that. that Cadamarteri goal that I really like. So I don't know if you see it. Bailey delays his run a little bit to get into the edge of the 6-yard box to poke it home, because what he did, he kind of hung back on the penalty spot to time his run. And you've got that as a defender, you stood there and you're thinking, do I go towards a striker or do I keep my line? And so by hanging back, it just nullified that defender out of it. So by the time the balls come in, Bailey's got the momentum, and that defender had absolutely no chance. And if you're watching back, I actually feel for him a little bit.
So many times of our strikers over the last few months look like just stood there waiting for the ball to come to them, whereas he actually attacked the ball. He went in and attacked the ball. So Fletcher, Smith, not seen much of anybody else really. Have been stood around waiting for the ball to land on the foot or the head to put it in. He actually, you're right, he timed his run perfectly. He looked for that ball in. Again, the ball in from Windass was sublime. It was just perfect. And he attacked the ball, and that's what we've been desperate for all season, is somebody to attack that ball. Brilliant. Fantastic finish.
Yeah, the League One striking blueprint doesn't seem to work in the Championship, does it? You can't go for that big telegraph pole type of striker where you just try and get something on it like you can in League One. I feel like that was a really clever goal the more I watch it. Now, Ash, a bit of windy pops there. Sorry, mate. No, can you tell me all about Neymar while I go and have a supper drink just to try and dispel the gastroenteritis that apparently I'm having while I'm live on the interwebs?
No problem. Well, he came back in, didn't he, against Leicester, and I didn't think he had the best game. So I thought he looked a bit off it, to be honest. But obviously, he's kept his place. I think there were only one change. Was it Windass came in, didn't he? And obviously verified his right to get called up with a goal and assist. Like rightly said, I think for me, I just go back to Windass. When he were attacking, I didn't think he was going to drill it in low. I thought he was going to chip it up to the back post or something. I didn't think he was, but he obviously knew what he was doing. He saw it more than me, and that's why he's a footballer and I'm not.
These professional footballers know more about football than us. How dare they?
We just talk about it for shits and giggles, don't we? But no, mate. I thought he had a quiet game, Johnson, again. I really did. I think for me, he was a bit in and out of it, and he was like, just not. I don't know what's happened. Obviously, he's missed a lot of game time. We know that. He's probably not 100% match fit, what they call it, even still. And he's not anything like he was last season. I know he stepped up in league and he's not played. But I tell you what, he attacked the goal with the ball, ran with it, and he tacked it. And that's the ball carrying is, I mean, all these stats people go out on Twitter and everything about ball carrying, XG and all this. But he cut, and it was a great finish as well. Drilled it low. I think keeper probably could have done. Could have done a little bit better, but good for us because it's usually, like I said before, it's usually us that have been moaning the keeper. But yeah, I thought it was a great finish, and it was just one that I think after obviously we conceded from that Sammy Smodics.
The guy who's just scored goals for fun this season, by the way. I mean, he was going to get one, wasn't he?
Yeah, I think he's on about 14 now, and that he was the danger man. And then to silence his shushing, shall we say, was great. And once again, thoroughly deserved.
Well, it's weird you mentioned stats, Ash, because here they go again. I've got them ready for you, and I've got the stats that matter, the ones that BBC Sport do. It's the only stats that matter. Is that the right one? Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. Now, this one's interesting because, like I asked about the Leicester one, Ash, is the possession, because the possession was very much 50-50, and then we went in front and Blackburn endeavoured to come back at us.
Yeah. Started
peppering the goal in the last 10 minutes. Did you feel like there was another equaliser on the way?
No. Cool. And that's and you do, don't you? Like I think we're accustomed to conceding goals, and it has been all season, but it was very feeling comfortable.
Yeah,
feeling very comfortable.
I think that possession came after Danny made some changes at half time, didn't it? He took Byers off and he went to sort of 5 at the back, was it? And then 3 in the middle, and they just overran us in midfield. They really overran us in midfield. But what was great, and we were talking about this on the way home in the car, was that last season, Darren Moore would have carried on with that. Darren Moore would have carried on, and we probably would have lost that game. But then Danny Rule just looked at it and went, this ain't working. This ain't working. And he swapped it around again. And when he swapped it around, that's when we got the second and third goal. And it just basically neutralised them. There's
one big thing that's happened, Charlie, the last couple of games where Bannon's come off, where Rule's gone, do you know what, Barry, you've done your bits, and he did them really well. I mean, the ball through for one of the goals, was it the first one down to Windass, that little volley, absolutely outstanding. And then he's gone, right, we're going to try something different, and Barry didn't fit into what we were going to try, and it did it against Leicester as well, and then we scored. I mean, that takes some bollocks to do that, doesn't it?
Well, it does, and I think that's what I've liked about Rule is that he's absolutely stuck to his game plan. Like, he's obviously had a vision, and I'm Bannon's biggest fan, but Bannon, I would imagine, as a player, knows what he can and can't do and what he should and shouldn't be doing. And I think I always feel for him as well, because I think he's the kind of player that, because he's become such a bit of a cult hero, he's not allowed to have a bad game. He's not allowed to ever make a mistake, because suddenly then it's like, people like love patting themselves on the back, trying to prove he's something he's not, trying to prove he's shit or whatever. But it was an intelligent move to do that, and there's been many a season where manager takes Bannon off at any point during them 90 minutes, and you're like, is he injured? Has he picked up a knock? Is he on a yellow? Like what what's the issue? But it was genius, and we've got to stop being those teams that build around that one person but unless we've got such and such in, that's game over. And I think Rule obviously sees what he can do and what he needs to change, and you've got to have that flexibility. It's what absolutely skyrocketed us in like the first 2/3 of our season, like last season in League One, was that we had such depth. Like, if somebody was off, we got someone else in there. If someone was was tired, we got a great choice in there, and that's what he really needs to find. And I thought, it worked really well. It really did actually hark back to last season, that feeling of, just because we've conceded, there wasn't a moment where I thought, well, this is the beginning of the end. Whereas obviously beginning of this season very much felt like that all the time. As soon as a goal went in, whether it was like first one's gone in against us or we've conceded and drawn or whatever, it was like, oh, here we go. Whereas I didn't have a moment of that the entire time. All the way through the second half, I was like, this is coming back to us, kind of thing. And it did. Fantastic.
Honestly, you lot seemed a lot more comfortable than I did. I was like, oh god, it's going to happen again. We've gone in front. It's going to happen again. But you lads seem to watch a different game to what I did, or just not as cynical. You watched more of the Leicester game than I did, so you were in charge. You were like this. Yeah, it don't matter, lads. We're trying to get top of the league. We're invincible right now. It don't matter. And then Simon, we had Windass cap off what was essentially them going at it. They were really coming at us, and Windass managed to. I believe that's his first goal this season, right?
It is. What was brilliant was because Smodics he'd having a bit of a tussle with Volks, and he was going up to the referee and moaning at the referee, and he was just one of these really sort of mouthy players. Yeah, great, he scored 14 goals this season. He wouldn't have got his 14th this season if Liam Palmer had been marking properly, but. Sorry, Steve.
Steve is watching this online in sense now, isn't he?
But it is
Stevie,
true.
Get in touch quick. Write a comment in quick. He's having.
But he was mouthy. He was mardy. This, that, and the other. So when he put the ball in and it Masaba, so he effectively his assist was to Windass was superb, and Windass just sublime finish. What was it? 91 minutes to still have that in his legs. Yeah. He was being chased down by 2 players. Then he's got to put it past the keeper who was coming out at him. Just coolly finished it. What would have been brilliant is if him finish it and then Smodics come in and tackle him in the box and get sent off. That would have made my day, because I really, really did not like him whatsoever. It was a moany, horrible little so-and-so.
John Dale Thomason got sent off, didn't he?
Yeah, obviously, yeah.
Tell us about that, Ash. What went off? What went off?
I got a clue. I've just seen that he's got a red card here on screen.
So what happened was, if you watch the second goal when Marv's coming down the wing, Patterson is slightly obstructing Hill, right? But it is literally Hill. If he hadn't have obstructed him, Hill wouldn't have made any difference to Marv anyway. He's sort of grappling and grasping him, but he was nowhere near Johnson. Johnson scores, and then they're shouting at the linesman saying, "Look, I was obstructed," and that's what it was all about. It was the moaning about theoretically an obstruction, which had no element of the game whatsoever. No element of the game. No, never mind when we kicked the ball against the referee and it broke to Blackburn and Blackburn scored.
Yeah.
I mean, the referee was absolutely... I mean, Blackburn fans have been moaning like anything about the referee. He was freaking shocking. He was dreadful, the referee.
Pato shithousing again, look.
Yeah.
Well, it's what he does. Now, it wasn't Stevie that put a comment on site. It was Ben, who's been on a couple of times before already this evening, and I think he's 002 Ash, isn't he, of the Liam Palmer fan club?
Oh, is he? Go on, then.
Stevie's 001. So he's got, he's furious with your Liam Palmer slander.
I love Liam Palmer.
Well, he's either agreeing or he's not, so I don't know. It could be, can it?
Yeah, Ben, can you clarify for us, mate? We need to know whether you're agreeing or not.
I mean, I agree with Simon that Palmer could have and should have done better, but obviously Iofa went off, didn't he, after, Jesus, what was it, 2 minutes or something?
Yeah.
It was really early, weren't it? It looked like his hamstring. I don't think I've seen any sort of injury update, but if it is, that's minimum of 6 to 8 weeks, isn't it, for a hamstring? And then Palmer came on, and he did a lot better than he had done previously, but like I say, he just lost his man.
I think it's really evident that, and we haven't had this since Cavalier either. That the international breaks, people always go, "Oh, they're going to break up our momentum." Our momentum was in the toilet. So when you've got that type of thing, there's an opportunity to work on fitness, work on your passages of play, and all the rest of it. And I feel like we've used the international break really well because we've come out of it very well. And we've spoken before about Liam Palmer's fitness might not be. Oh, he's vice president of the Liam Palmer fan club, please, Ben. Talking about Liam Palmer, what we've done, we've kind of spoken a lot, haven't we, about is his fitness levels there like they were last season after he'd been doing the marathons and he'd carried a bit of an injury and maybe still on the way back, and maybe we're going to see a turning point from him at some point. Now, Charlie, I've got to talk about one man in the midfield. I'm going to pop up the team of the week and look at the manager and who's in the middle of the park there, ladies and gents.
Well, if it isn't little Willie Volks.
Sir Willie Volks.
His way in. Oh, my goodness.
What a player.
What a player.
I don't know about the Sheffield Wednesday turnaround. I think what a turnaround by Volks. You know, the old the gif of GIF, what the young'uns say, of Tyson Fury getting up when he got punched by Deontay Wilder. That's Will Volks that in the last few games, because
he's been immense.
From his bit of a debacle at Cardiff, he's turned it around a little bit, hasn't he? He's proper got into a role that Danny Rule wants him to play.
He could almost say he's got himself on a roll.
Oh.
Oh, my Lord.
I'm wasted here. Try the veal. Right then. So we ran out as 3-1 winners at Blackburn. We're still not off the bottom of the table, are we? Are we? I don't know. I've just stopped looking at it. I'll not lie.
We drew, didn't we, against top of the league and went from 10 points from relegation to 12 points with a draw against top of the league because of other results. I think Huddersfield won, and then QPR won on Friday night. And it's just a good job we've had these 4 points. I know we need them anyway, but by heck, if we hadn't, it would have been disastrous. Because it's not disastrous yet. We're all positive, so
20 points off playoffs. 20 points off
20 points, lads. We're going up. We'll just take playoffs this time round. Now, Charlie, they brought, everybody's in a good mood here. Look at them. Do you reckon we'll stay up?
Yeah. I do.
Oh, they are then. You've heard it here first, ladies and gents. I tell you what, actually, in the comments, if you are watching online, get involved. I mean, how do you feel? I was going to say promotion chances are there in there, but if you feel like,
Why not?
Why
Why
not?
not? He's got full chance here, eh? He's got full chance here, eh?
Hey, I'm telling you, we're getting playoffs. That's it. Yeah, what do you think, Charlie? Do you think we'll manage? Do you think there are 3 shitter teams in the league than us?
Sorry, did you just ask me that question? Just cut
I
out.
did. Did your shitty Wi-Fi kick out again? I was gonna say, do you feel like there's? Go on.
I don't think. I know this. It's tricky in it because this will just come back to bite me in some kind of little soundbite that somebody's going to flip and turn into like a Curb Your Enthusiasm video. Yep. But I don't. You just have to look at us now, and that we are not bottom. We're not playing like bottom. Do you know what I mean? I just don't believe. I know we need to get the points from somewhere, and so every loss has been more frustrating because we haven't deserved to lose. But I just can't see us not just scraping through as a minimum. Like I just can't see it. And I do think a lot of that comes from the positivity we've built on, because it's been obvious for the last fair few weeks now that we are more than capable of winning and getting the points. But it's been like the mentality, like we didn't even talk about it from the Leicester game, because obviously Fudge has got an agenda, but that Dawson save right at the death, that I literally said at the time that was going to make or break his season. If he'd have conceded that then, after we just scrape one back in injury time, and then to concede that and give them the win and lose that potential point against top of the league, he is never going to mentally recover from that. That would have been like absolutely lost his bottle. But for him to get that on top of that point, and then we've built on with a win, that is just going to skyrocket everyone's faith, like the crowd's faith, fans, everything. And that's the difference. It's not just that like, oh, we could play better, we should be playing better, or we should be getting the results. Mentally, things have switched on for us. And I just, yeah, I'd resigned myself to relegation if that's the way things were going. But now I think it would be an absolute crying shame for us to go down.
Playoffs it is. Charlie says playoffs. I'm just gonna just bear with me. Just gonna make a note of that. Charlie says playoffs.
Right. It.
Ash, is everybody else agreeing what the people out there saying?
Yeah, Chris says, I think we can stay up with a good few January signings from Mr. Rule. Take it to the last game of the season.
Interesting, that one, because January's coming up. I was going to leave that for a week to talk about that, see who would ship out, but because I needed to do more homework. So we'll come back to that one, Chris, next week.
Ben, I don't think Ben's. I mean, I'm liking the interaction from Ben. I don't think he's got better things to do than watch us idiots. But I appreciate it, Ben. Thank you. Rotherham QPR and Darren Moore Huddersfield below us. I think that's all it takes, innit? Even though this week's opponent Stoke are dropping like a bit of a stone as well.
And also if Nathan Jones is turning you down to be your manager, I don't fancy being a Rotherham fan right now. I mean, his reputation's on its arse. It could have been make or break for him, couldn't it?
He's still getting paid by Southampton from the Premier League, so he'll be coining in. Don't you worry about that. Are you going to ask me if we're going to survive or not?
I was going to, Ash. While I've got you in this good mood, I was going to bring it to you.
Damn right.
Yeah, come on, Ash.
Ash. Of course we are, man. Gotta be, aren't we? Look, it's. I had this discussion. I can't remember if it was a guy at the urinal or if it was Stevie. I don't know. I can't remember. But
did we sign him up for a My Wednesday to talk about it? Yeah, at urinal.
Yeah, that would be immense. Urinal.
Especially if you interviewed him there.
Yeah. It was a long story.
Yeah.
I think if we are, I'm going to say 5 or 6 points from relegation come January, and I know that's a big December, but there is quite a few games in December. If we're 5 to 6 points within touching distance, I think with a couple of signings and a few going out, that's a reachable target.
Yep.
Reachable target. Bearing in mind, we have Stoke next. We've got QPR. Norwich midweek. They're going through a bit of a sticky patch. and then we've got Coventry, Boxing Day, Preston. There's none of the top 6 in there, I believe, at the minute. So
now there's an opportunity to close them back. Preston had a great start, and they seem to have fallen away a little bit, didn't they?
Yeah. So looking at the positionings and the games we've got coming up, there is a good opportunity to at least add a few more wins to that, and then go into the new year with a bit of. Plus, I don't know what you guys think, but would we look more attractive side if we're on the up, rather for players coming in? Sorry, Dan, I know you're going to talk about this next week, but I'm just thinking with the points, momentum, and obviously the gap not being 10, 12, being 5 or 6, surely players will look at that and go, actually, Danny's this German manager from nowhere has got him playing a good brand of football and he's getting some points. I think it may be a good proposition for a striker that obviously we do need. And I know we've got Bailey coming through and he's playing, but no disrespect to him, and he's a young lad. We don't want to be putting all his eggs into him because
we don't want our championship survival balanced on his fairly broad shoulders, do we?
Yeah, don't get me wrong. Of course, I'd love him to smash 15 in between now and end of the season and everything, but we do. He would need support, or he needs someone to play with, or just learn from an experienced guy, or I don't know. But yeah, that's my thoughts.
Yeah. What about you, Simon? Do you reckon we're going to stay up?
I think it'd be a close run thing. I agree with Ash. We've we got Stoke. I think there's a confidence thing, and that Leicester performance, I think, has changed the outlook of the team.
It ignited something, didn't it?
It has, because we've been playing really well, and I'll go back to the Bristol game where we were really unlucky to have Bannon sent off. I thought that we would have beaten Bristol with 11 men on the pitch, and I think we've not got the results from the performances we put in, and now we are, and that does, like you say, ignite something. I think it'd be a close run thing. It reminds me of my vague memories of the 90 season under Ron Atkinson, where we were one of the best teams in the league, and yet we went down on goal difference. I'm hoping it's not going to go down that way. But look, like Ash said, if we're 6 points off by Christmas, that's doable. That's doable. Then we can pull ourselves out the mire. It is January. I think you put a post there, didn't you? January is the huge one. We can't be signing players at the end of January. We need to be signing players at the start of January. We can't be 4 or 5 games in looking for a player. We need to be signing a player like Kenwyn Jones or something like that, who just goes on a flipping run and just bags loads of goals for us. And
we all want a Kenwyn Jones.
Don't we just?
Right, okay then. So as Charlie picked up on earlier on, I have to be nice about a couple of things that I've picked on this show. So I need to be measured. I need to be nice. Yes, Cameron Dawson pulled out an absolute barnstorming save after we'd equalised against Leicester City. Fair play, Cam. I hope it does a lot for your confidence. But I also
it was straight at his feet. He just kicked it away.
I mean, it was all right, like, you know what I mean. But there's also something else I need to talk about. Now, 1867 Club have been on. They've organised a protest and they've released a fairly lengthy statement, albeit a lot more measured than the last one. I'm just going to bash through it for these last 5 minutes, just to, because, I'm not here to slag it off. I appreciate that some people are really angry about the back of house in terms of Sheffield Wednesday. So I'll go through it now. And it says, further to our request for a meeting with Dejphon Chansiri, we can confirm that the club did indeed offer to enter a dialogue. We suggested the following. We would give up anonymity. I got that right, yeah. In exchange for written agreement that members giving up their names would not face sanctions from the club in terms of banning orders or legal action. That's fair. We also requested that the minutes from the meeting regarding the potential takeover bid were publicised to the wider fan base. This would give Wednesdayites the clarity they deserve. Neither prerequisite could be met by the club, and as a result, we have no further option other than upscale the protest movement. We've listened to the wider fan base, and we have no immediate plans for disruptive protests during the game, and we are not currently in a position where we feel this is the best course of action when in the stands we're fully behind Danny Rule and the lads. Now, that I'm all right with, right? They've reached out. They want to talk to the chairman. They want to have a chat, and he's going to try and wrap them up in NDAs. And you know, we're not going to hear anything that's come out of it. They've made 2 reasonable requests there, and
were they?
I don't
go
think
on. What do you think?
Personally, I don't think the second.
I don't think the second one, where they wanted minutes from a potential takeover. Who in their right mind is going to agree to? If I'm buying a business, I don't want anyone else to know what's happening in them negotiations.
No, I tell you what. Yeah, I've kind of scaled that over a bit, but yeah, I kind of like the. Listen, we don't want to get barred from the club like we've seen happen. You know what I mean? These people that wanted their money back for COVID and they've been kicked out and stuff like that. I agree with that. They don't want to disrupt any games as we've tried before. I agree with that completely. Right? That and you're right. The bit that you've picked up on there, it's if you were buying a business, there'd be certain protocols to follow.
So I think it was sorry, Dan. No, I think it was something that they asked for, full well knowing they weren't going to get. And this is my opinion, not the podcast, not anyone's, just me personally. So you can have a go at me if you want, whoever. But I'm just thinking that they've asked for something that they probably knew they weren't going to get. Because who in the right mind? And yes, this statement from the last one is totally different. I don't know if they've got someone else writing them or they've just thought, shit, we did a pretty bad job. But asking for something you know you're not going to get, but that's one of the stipulations for carrying out your next act, of which is as a walk and a bit of a protest. Fine, happy with them doing whatever they want to do or anything like that. But to have a stipulation where I think would have been against the interest of the club and the purchaser or potential investor to release something like that, then it's a bit.
Do you feel like then it's a prerequisite to then set a precedent to then go into the second part that then goes, we urge you, the fans, to join us in protest of the current ownership at the club at 2 p.m. on 16th of December prior to our home fixture against QPR. The protest march will, and there's the address, Hawksley Avenue through Hillsborough Park and enter the director's entrance under the South Stand. The above is current intended route, but we are in discussions with SAG, the club, and South Yorkshire Police. We call on all Sheffield Wednesday fans who've had enough of the current regime to join us in solidarity. This club was here before and will be long after the current custodian. We stand together in saying enough is enough, the 1867 group. Now, do you feel like that was I feel like Charlie's having internet issues, by the way. That's why we've all moved. Do you feel like that's why they said that at the start then? In order to garner...
I don't know if... Oh, maybe, but I don't know if surely they're not that stupid. Surely they genuinely probably said it and thought they'd have that back, say, from the club. But I don't think the club or any business would have done that. So I thought asking for that, and if they've got a swift, sharp no, and then they've took this other action.
You don't know how far the negotiations. I mean, they alluded to the negotiations breaking down in the last statement, but we don't know how true that is. You don't know where the negotiations are. You don't know what sort of NDA that Chancery's signed with whoever's.
And are they part of the takeover as well? Are they just middleman in this?
I find a lot of it when I read it. Obviously, I wasn't involved in the podcast last week when you talked about it, but I tended to find that it's if buts and maybes, that they'd heard from somebody had told them this story, somebody had told them that, and then they went off on a diatribe of we don't want this, we don't want that, we don't want the other. I still fall back to what I said quite a few weeks ago about 1867. I think it was the first incumbent before they disappeared and then came back again, was that they need to garner the other supporting groups here. That by going out and they need to talk to Wednesdayite. Wednesdayite have been involved for a long time with Sheffield Wednesday. I'm not a member of them and never have been, but they were involved with Dave Allen. They were involved with the Ken Bates takeover, supposable takeover then. Yeah, Jeff Hulley. They need to get the Women's Supporters Group on board. They need to get the Supporters Action Group on board. Before they even then try to then take over and say that they represent the fans. All they do at the moment is represent an anonymous number of 4 or 5 people who we don't know who they are. And if they want to remain anonymous, that's fine. But again,
I understand why. I understand
Yeah,
why.
but I go back to Wednesday Eye. That Wednesday Eye at the time, we had the chairman at the time, Dave Allen, was talking about banning people, and there were certain pubs that couldn't use the Wednesday emblem, the Shakespeare and stuff like that. He was going to sue a snooker club for using it. That was really really toxic time. Plus, also the club hadn't got a pot to piss in. He was loaning money to the club. I mean, that was a really bad time. But we didn't have the social media we have now. And at the time, people stood up in Wednesday Eye to him, and they were season ticket holders, and they were more than happy to stand up and say, and they stood behind at the time a supposed takeover at the time by Ken Bates, who then obviously went to Leeds. But these people have. I'm sorry, but sometimes when you do these sort of things, you have to take it on the chin. If you love the club enough and want to stand up and do this, then if you get banned from going and watching them, then so be it. Sure enough, if I stood up and got banned from going to see Sheffield Wednesday, a season ticket holder, then sure enough, my argument is even better then, that the club has gone, well, sorry, you can't come in because I've stood up against the owner. I mean, sure enough, then I've got more kudos than somebody who isn't admitting to who they are. I think it's brilliant. I think that the fact that they are doing what they're doing, at least they're standing up. But I think the way they're going about it is probably the wrong way.
I can kind of see both sides of it. Now, Charlie, out of the four of us on here right now, you're the one that's more prone to joining Just Stop Oil. I mean, where do you stand with it?
Yeah, sorry, what did you just say? I missed the last bit.
I said that you're more prone to joining Just Stop Oil. You're all young and whatnot, and all like all big thinking. And I just thought, I can see you on the motorway.
They're all older people like Si stood in front of buses.
She's got V8 Mustang sat in the car park in Birmingham.
Just Stop Oil. They've all got mortgages and like knee replacements, man. I'm not even 30 yet. Wretched man. I agree with everything. I agree with everything that's been said. I think, like, I don't know if you can hear me. I'm sorry if it's cutting out. But yeah, I 100%. I don't disagree with any of their points. Like, and the protest, the concept of the protest in general, the concept of protesting in general, I'm 100% behind. You absolutely have to be putting your face to something. Like, unless you are talking about taking to the streets with something where you've got a mask on because you're worried that the police are going to take you down or whatever. The biggest issue that I have, not to get like really on my soapbox about it, but I don't know who these people are. Therefore, I don't know what they actually represent. So when they're talking about we, I think, do you mean you? Do you mean female football fans? Do you mean disabled football fans? Who are you talking about? Who are you representing in this? And while their overall message is one that I think affects all Wednesdayites, I think you have to be very, very careful when you use that we and use that collective we, because if we don't know who you are, you could be anyone with any kind of politics. And I might not want to pin myself to that. I don't know what that is. And equally, if you are getting a lot of negative attention, not in the way that a protest is intending, but perhaps if you are starting to ask for things and demand for things that maybe a lot of people don't agree with or don't agree with the way you're going about it, you also have to be prepared to take the consequences for all of us. That you know our chairman's like, he'll throw out punishments right, left and centre. The very least you could do is let us know what you're fighting for, who you even are. So yeah, I have my concerns about anyone that anonymously wants to make change like that. I think you obviously feel like you might be in some kind of danger from something that you're losing, but you're happy for other people to throw tennis balls and perhaps be seen on CCTV and get done. I don't know, like there's elements of that don't sit right with me, but I really want to make it clear. I don't like what the chairman does. I absolutely 1,000,000% champion anybody's right to protest, and I think we should say when we're not happy with things, because it is our club, and I'll chain myself to the gates if I think that that's what's needed. But it doesn't make you pro Transiri to be anti someone's methods of protest, I think. So,
okay, I think that's fairly measured from a lot of us there.
A load of soup on the
orange soup. That's a fairly measured response. I feel like, look, if you want to protest, I completely understand why you're doing that, and I get it. And like I said last week, I'm just not there yet to start marching through Hillsborough Park. Now, I want to do this very quickly because we're already over time. Ash, what we got coming up soon?
Stoke City.
Stoke, what you thinking?
Oh, well, buzzing, aren't we? We're all buzzing. So it's a horrible trip to. Is it the Bet365? It's not the Britannia, is it? I'm old.
Fuck no,
it's going to be Bet365, isn't it? Yeah. They're, like I said, I think they're 20. They're about 20th. Yeah, they are 20th. So they're only, we're only 11 points behind them. So, got to be confident, haven't we? Got to get confident. 2-0. 2-0 Wednesday away at Stoke.
2-0 Wednesday.
Yeah, I am.
I love this, Ash. I love this
you
new
like
Ash.
It? Yeah, man. I've had an haircut, but not a beard cut. And obviously, I need to get my beard lights in there at Christmas.
And if these young ladies are to be believed at these Roland Nilsson dinners, the Botox has kicked in as well. What about you, Simon? What are you thinking?
I'm going. We don't travel well to there, do we? We don't travel well. It's a bloody horrible trek. There's nowhere to park. The traffic out is shit. I'm going 2-1 Wednesday.
Brilliant. There we go. What about you, Charles?
Yeah, there's no reason not to win it. You look what we're doing, you look at what they're doing. It's absolutely on paper something we've got to win, and therefore, yeah, I'm going to say 3-0. Let's go nuts. Let's go mental. 3-0. Write it down.
Normally, when I'm doing these, I normally write mine down, and I wrote 1-1, and now I'm like, I might change that to 1-0, but I don't know. I don't know. Listen, normally at this point of the evening, I normally ask for any other business if you guys have got any, but I've got some here for you.
Oh,
right. I've brought some any other business to the fore, and I've got a visual aid for it. Ash, I don't even remember back in the days when you first started doing this podcast, and you guys might not have heard this, but Ash used to send me pie reviews. When he first started going,
he did.
He
did.
Send me pie reviews. We used to play him on the audio. Now I've seen this on accounts such as Footy Scran. Have you seen this? This is a Philly cheesesteak that's been doing the rounds on Twitter, and apparently it costs £3. Now, where?
Hillsborough.
No, Hillsborough one's been on, and it looked dreadful.
Hillsborough.
Is that Hillsborough?
Is that in your posh stand? Is that
blue seats?
Well,
that's Hillsborough.
But it's £3, Ash. Look at it. It's meat and cheese and bread. That's like 3 of my favourite food groups.
One, I doubt it were £3 if it's from Hillsborough for one.
No, it's not Hillsborough. The seats are too shiny. They're not faded and gone really brittle.
Well, look,
I think I did see it on Twitter. It was someone did say it was Hillsborough.
Right, okay.
I did see it, but I can't believe it.
If someone knows where to buy that sandwich, I'm going to be, I'm your pal. Ash, have you got anything to add?
Just one thing, if that's all right. I know
Go, James.
Stop talking in a minute. You may or may have not seen that we have run a raffle competition for the last couple of weeks to win a signed Sheffield Wednesday squad shirt, home shirt. And it was won by John Wakefield. So congratulations to John. We raised £190 in tickets. So whatever we got left over from a shirt was 65, 125 quid. It's going to go into our coffers for the community stuff that we're doing. So, and we've got some stuff coming up at Christmas. So look out for that. So much appreciate to everyone who bought tickets, who donates or does anything for us, or even watches YouTube, because we get 53p, 4 pence or something for every 1,000 views. So we've got about £4 from all that. So thank you very much.
Hours and hours of content for 53p.
And all the on Twitter, all the crap stuff I put on there just to garnish interactions, because we get paid for that as well. So
Yep, and that was £8.50 for 6 months, wasn't it, Ash?
Something like that,
yeah. We're not running off to the Dominion Republic or anything like that.
No.
Profits.
Yeah,
don't worry, guys. Yeah, don't worry, guys. We're not. We're definitely not going to get rich.
It's not paying for Charlie's bail to get out of that hostel that she's in. Sorry, Charlie, you're still there.
In it. Just right. Listen, thanks a lot for joining us tonight. It's been an absolute pleasure. Thanks a lot for watching us online as well. Thank you for your comments tonight, folks. Simon, I'll let you do the see you later.
See you all later.
This podcast is proud to be part of the TalkSport Fan Network. TalkSport. Powered by fans.
To goal! It's absolutely world class from Marcus Tunde.
Johnson puts it in the air. Aidan Flynn wins the It's still with Lee Gregory. He's in the box. Tries to screw him. Is it going to be there?